Hello, my chickadees. I'm Lay Rooster, and you're in the hen house. Here we are going to start with a introduction and basic training to Star Trek Fleet Command. Maybe you've heard about it because you play other Scopely games like Marvel Strike Force that I also stream, and you were wanting to check out Scopely's game. Maybe you tried this in the 2 years that the game's been out, but you, like many people, said, this game was too confusing, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here to give you a real basic orientation that lets you know how to play this game, how to make heads or tails of it, so that you can start to conquer and become an impressive fleet commander and start to have some fun instead of just being confused. Nobody likes a confusing game. So we're going to embark on that in just a second, but please feel free to go down and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you press the bell so you get notifications of when my next channel feed goes live. Like the video. Also, put information in the comments about what kinds of videos you want to see. Also, please make sure to follow me on Twitch, where I stream daily in Pacific time evenings. That's at twitch.tv/lay_rooster. Links to all that and my Discord server where you can help will be below in the comments. So please check that out. So let's get into some Star Trek Fleet Command. And look at that. This is my baby account for Star Trek Fleet Command. And you can see as we start to pan it around, and it's fairly beautiful in itself, this is your base. I have 2 space docks here and 2 space docks. And we have our ships. This is the beautiful Jellyfish, which I'm very proud to recently own. This is my level 14 baby account. So it's not exactly a baby, more of a teenager. One of the quick tips for getting started is don't go past level 14 until you're ready for what happens at level 15, which is when all-out war starts to happen and you are vulnerable. So don't do that before. You can go up to 14 and you won't be harassed at your base until you get to 15. So that's just one tip to know as we get started. But just to give you some basic overview, so we're looking at the outside of the station. You can see the docks and you can see how the ships moor at the docks. You see your guns like this one here. These are related to your defense, which you don't need until you get to level 15. But you are going to want them built up before you go there. So you can just pan around and have some fun with that. Look at some AR photos of your base. This button on the interior will give us a scene of the inside, which gives us a little bit more. It starts to look like a fantastic city that looks bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, kind of like the TARDIS, but we are in a space game, so that makes some sense. Here's your operations building. This is your headquarters. This is what controls your level as a character. So when your operations goes up, if I were to upgrade my operations to 15, I would have a 15 level base. So there are many things that you have to level up in order to be able to level up your operations. So it tends to be the last thing you level up in order to go to a new level and then do other pieces. So that is hugely important, and some of the intro will walk you through that. As you can see there, most of these things can be clicked on. Like here is the Academy. This controls your officers. Officers are huge in this game. They're pretty much like your characters. Just your ships are characters of sorts, like a hero collector, and your officers are characters, and they play together. So here you'll notice that you get an officer stat bonus, and it goes up when you go to like 15. It'll go to 15%. So that boosts your officers. So that's important. So all these things do things like that. This is your research and development center, which controls, believe it or not, your research. So here it lets you, and it gives you a bonus to your research speed. It's hugely important because in order to keep researching better things that help you out more and more, you're going to have your research build up. So these things, you're not going to be able to progress in the game without addressing them, and the quests will naturally take you through them. Some of the other pieces, like here, are the various pumps. Like this is a Parsteel warehouse, and below it are the pumps that create Parsteel generator, A, B, C, D, etc. You get more and more. As you can see, I have open slots for when I level up higher. You get more and more, and when we go over to some of them, they'll have stuff in them. Mine have been cleared out recently because I'm trying to farm them, and then they fill up in the warehouse. That's where you'll see up top the Parsteel, which comes from those Parsteel generators, as well as rewards that you get or from fighting hostiles. The Tritanium, which is the green stuff, more precious and used a lot. And then the dilithium. You've probably heard of dilithium crystals from watching Star Trek if you've done any of that. That's what it represents. So each of these is parsteel, tritanium, and dilithium related. So, so that you know, those are going to be important natural resources for you. All right. So looking at some of our buttons, we have here the shaking hands. This is the help button. We're going to click on this. This is when you're in an alliance and people need help doing their researches or their builds or their repairs. Be a good alliance member. Press help often and frequently. This, where it says claim, is your gift. These are going to be free gifts. As you can see, we have a 10-minute chest, which we're going to take that. So we get some tritanium, which of course we'll take. And then notice that the timer sets. So every 10 minutes, you can press this button and get a small gift. Every 4 hours, you can get the 4-hour chest. And then if it sits unclaimed, it doesn't start the timer again. So you want to click it as soon as you can to get the maximum stuff, especially if you're low on resources, because you get good stuff, better stuff in the 4-hour than the 10-minute. And then the 24-hour chest, you get every 24 hours. And once you've clicked it, it counts down. So if you get behind on those, then that doesn't help you. So that's an important part that you just want to be doing. Some other stuff, but we'll cover that in a more detailed video. So we also have up here buttons for your ships, which tells you about what ships you can build. This will matter as you level up. Your officers, which will take you to an officer loadout screen, showing you the officers you have, showing the ones that are new, like Cadet Scotty here in green, as well as the fact that with the green and the up arrow that he's ready to be upgraded if I so choose. Then you can hit recruit, which helps you with your random pulls. And you'll see there's all kinds of different types of recruits, from the standard, ultra, premium, and then these ones that are effective for the event. We'll talk a little bit more about that soon. So that's your officers. They're important. Your ships are important. Down here are the 2 ships that I have currently in my docks. This is the Jellyfish, and it shows that Cadet Uhura is the captain. That's why we get to see her little picture there. And it just gives you some idea of what's going on. If you hit manage on this, you'll see the ship in more beautiful glory, which it is pretty. And then you can see the top 3 bridge officers that you have. Either you can click the upgrade button, and that'll take you to a place where you see the ship itself. And the 5 different plus signs are the places where you basically put the different types of gear. Like for this one is a shield, and it shows you what kind of resources it takes. And then it also shows you to the right, as you can see where the strength goes up and down when I click it and click away. It shows you what impact it's going to have to put that on there. So that is like shields. In this case, it's the warp engines, which makes it go warp further. You'll be locked based on the distance that your ships can travel. This is your cargo bay, which you'll upgrade because that has to do with how much loot you can hold before you're full. And once you're full, you can't get any more, even if you beat people. Then you like your weapons. In this case, this one has 2 phaser cannons. So you upgrade all 5 of these at once, and then you'll be able to tier up the ship. You can see mine is at tier 5, so it can go to tier 6 when I have all those things there, and I then begin the tiering up process. So you're leveling here. This takes ship XP, and that's so it powers up the power of the ship, which typically affects the power, but it affects how many officers you can load on the ship, and those really affect how well the ships function. Your details tab will give you all kinds of stats about your attack bonus, your damage per round, things all the way down, your impulse speed, your warp range, and down it gives you a nice little description that tells you about the ship. Also tells you about your protected cargo and your cargo capacity. That's important, particularly for miners, and just knowing when you're in a safe zone versus when you're not. So if you click on the pictures of the officers on your ship, it'll bring up the ship's officer component. The bridge are the top 3 officers. The one in the middle is the captain. So they have a captain ability, and then they all have officer abilities. Captain ability is represented here. Scan the enemy. Tells you about captain maneuver. And then these other 3 are connected to, so this is Chin on the left, and that is her officer ability, energy absorber. So they all have different abilities, and you're going to want to pick these carefully. Down below in the below decks, these officers contribute to strength, attack, defense, and health. So they can help really beef up the power of the ship and the survivability. So depending on what you're doing, if you're trying to survive, if you're trying to go PvP, you are going to put people down there in order to help, and you're going to change around your officers. This, for instance, is a hostile grinding crew. So that's for PvE when you're going against computer AI ships, not when you're going up against other players. So, but again, for another video. So that's the basics on the ships. And then as we talk about the base, your event tab will help you, because there's two things you want to be thinking about here as you play. If you're saying, I don't know what to do in Star Trek, I got in here and I could see that I can build some stuff like any base game, but then I don't know what to do. Two things to be thinking about are, what are your events and what are your daily activities? Now that kind of sounds simple, but let's look at it a little bit. So I've been saving the baby account today, and all of my daily activities are still active and haven't been claimed. I was working on this earlier and streaming this on Twitch. But let's see. So if we click here at the exclamation point, which shows that I have 5 different goals that are done and are ready for collecting. So your daily events, you want to get all the way out to the maximum of what you have, and you're going to get these different chest rewards as you click them. So one at 30, one at 65, one at 120, one at 170. It goes up as your levels go up and you have more things that you can do and accomplish. So if we just look at some of these things, the power creep one, which gives you 40 points, which is a pretty big one. Gain power by completing research and upgrading your station. So that has to do with this section right here, where you can see where I have the option to start building and start research. If I click start building, it takes me, well, it takes me to the operations, but it can take me anywhere that I could try to build. I am maxed out on my level here, so I can't build without raising my operation. So it'll take you somewhere initially and say, oh, spend this money, and then that'll get me going. So that would be one way to do it, through building. If you do research, it clicks you into the research trees. Don't get too alarmed here. There's 5 right now. Like at my level 14, I can only do things in the combat and the station section. Everything else is cut off for me. As I get higher in level and as you level up, you'll be able to go in there. Now, so as we're going back into these dailies, so the power creep is doing enough through building or research or combination to trigger that. Then there's one that's specifically for upgrading one thing on your station. So you're going to want to be doing that daily where possible. In this case, you can upgrade multiples here. Later on, it becomes 1 because they take a lot longer. And then you'll get the 20 points. The research also allows you to do research projects to get the points. So you can see that those add up. If we got all of them, we'd have 80 points, which would get us down along this line pretty well. Scrolling down, your alliance stuff. This happens when you join an alliance. You're going to want to do that as soon as you're eligible in the beginning of the game. The alliance solidarity is clicking help 10 times, and you get 10 points. That's great. You can see I've done that. The alliance unity is clicking it 50 times, which means staying on the game more or coming back and making sure we hit those likes. So, in fact, we'll go there and see there are no more likes to hit right now, but it's keeping track. So those are the alliance ones, and that gives you a total of 35 points if you do that. Now, your fortune finder is opening that 24-hour daily chest, and the looter is opening the 4-hour chest, like in my case, 2 times. Later on, it'll be 3 times. So that means you need to log in every 4 hours and open those chests, and then that will help you get those points. So, and again, those chests are here with a claiming, opening the 4-hour chest twice and the 24-hour chest once. So, very nice. Then we go into, as we scroll down, to the hostile grinding. These are attacking hostile computer AI ships. If we defeat 5 hostiles, like for me, I'm level 14, so it says beat 5 at level 14. So that's going to scale with level. And then this, what is more of the stretch goal, defeat 25 hostile ships of level 15 or higher. So that's of my level +1 here. You'll have these as they go, and they just grow with you. So, but you can see, so you can farm to get their points. There are more points on this available than you need in order to max out daily. So there is some times where you can choose. And here's a Spelunker one, which right now wants me to mine 2-star crystal, gas, or ore. So you're going to mine specific stuff, mine enough of these units, and you'll get some stuff. Now what you'll notice here is I have a Klingon one, a Romulan one, and a Federation warrior, as well as Federation champions and different Klingon Federation warriors, as well as Federation gas miner, Romulan ore miner, Klingon crystal miner. These are faction specific. So if we look here at our factions insignia, you know, typically when you're in Star Trek or the world of Star Trek, everyone tends to follow for one empire between the Romulans, the Federation, and the Klingons. But in this game, you have the ability to play for as many sides as you want, and it's kind of a nice feature. So you can choose to solely focus on the Federation and grind up your faction standing there, which will allow you to buy more things in the store and get events to do for the Federation. But like as you can see on my account, which has 3, I've been working on unlocking or working all 3 of the factions at the same time, which is a slower grind process, but gives me more options. So I've unlocked some abilities with the Federation, with the Klingons, and with the Romulans. You may just choose one. A lot of times the recommendation is to do with 2 first and then worry about the 3rd later. Anyway, we may talk about that in another video. Make sure you put some comments about stuff you want to see, so I can make some videos for that. So that is related to your dailies, and like I said, some of the events. With having all these extra faction-specific Klingon, Romulan, and Federation tasks, that helps me get all these extra points, which helps me max out my daily. You want to max your daily every day, and when you get the final max for the day, you get a special loyalty reward, which is right here up top. I have 3 of them right now, loyalty badges. Those badges, if you get 7 of them, which takes 7 days or a week of completing your daily tasks, you'll be able to unlock a 7-day loyalty chest if you so choose. Usually people want to save for 30 of them and open the monthly chest. But again, you can't work on those unless you're completing your dailies. Doing your dailies will help you to grow. You get a lot of good rewards that are important and will help you a lot. The other piece is the events. If you're doing nothing, you want to do your dailies and look at what events you can play into. So you have standard daily events and you have a special event, sometimes more than one. This one right now is Crucible of War. Now, and we'll go into that, but in the daily events, let's look at this real quick. So in the daily events, these change and you can see the timers. Now, as you can see, I have a Romulan reputation, a Klingon reputation, and over here, a Federation reputation. Those events are available to me because I've unlocked securing those factions. So I join them every day, and every time I spend resources, it boosts my standing with them, which is good. And you can do all of them at the same time, or you can just do one. The factions don't like each other, so when you gain in one, it takes some away from the other. But there are ways to work through that. Anyway, I do them all. So you'll always have those every day once you get those unlocked, depending on the ones you have. Then we can see here, for another 5, almost 6 hours, we have an officer recruit event. I've completed this, as you can see. It says earn officer shards. So it tells you unlock uncommon, rare, and epic shards. That's by opening the different officers. So what happens here is this works, and then if we sit at our officers, which let me pull them up under the recruit tab, this is where we were looking at different ones. I don't have any at the moment, but even if we looked at the standard recruits, and when you have the materials to pull an officer chest, like I need 20 of these cards, recruit tokens, to pull here, then I have a chance to get some of these, which will feed into that event. Premium gives you better, ultra even better, and then some of these special ones that happen. So the point here is you may not want to open your officer events if you want to check the daily events and see, do I have an officer event before I open these officers? Because if you do, then that's going to feed into it. If you complete the officer event, so this one is for opening and acquiring new shards of a character officer. There are others for leveling up existing officers. Sometimes you'll have both at the same time. If you keep looking, you can do that, and you can essentially double dip with what you're doing. So you'll see here, like you're going to get some parts for a survey ship. You're going to get some ship XP and get some tritanium, and you get different levels of that throughout this time. What I want to point out is by building up my officers, you get ship XP experience. So an important part for that, and we'll click back through all the nasty bits. If we go back to our ship, we go to upgrade. Look, you can level up the ship. You can do it by grinding hostiles, which is probably an easier way, but you can also spend ship experience in order to level up the ship. So you're getting that by grinding up the officers. So that's one of the points that I wanted to point out to you is about the events. What are they doing? They're feeding you for other events and other parts of growth. Grow your officers, which is important, and then it gives you ship XP to build your ships. There are times a ship building event that'll come up, and you're going to want to stockpile that ship experience and try to capitalize on using it, particularly when there's an event active. Now here we have a limited time station event. So in the station event, we need to upgrade our station by just doing various building things. So when you collect these, when you finish a build and collect it, it goes towards the points here. Now, what is it giving as a reward here? It's giving us ultra recruit tokens, premium recruit tokens, and regular recruit tokens, which will give you officers, which is great, right? And that's for building your base, giving you officers. And then it's giving you officer XP, which will help you level up your officers. So building the station under that event builds your officers. And somewhat connected, we also have the officer recruit event. So if you complete the station event, it'll give you more pulls to get more officers, which will feed the events. Now, they have time. These times are synced, but they're not always. Some of them are going to be shorter time or they don't overlap in the same way, and you have to pay attention. But so that was one of the things when I talk about like the station event, like that being live, knowing that's live, if I'm building something, which I'm not right now because I'm out of building, then I could choose to go ahead and finish and collect a building. Like sometimes you're going to use a speed up in order to get it done before the event ends. When you do that, you're going to get credit for the event for building your station. You're already going to get the same credit for simply building something. So if you pay attention to the times and which events are open, that's going to feed you more by giving you event stuff as well as helping with your dailies. So those are all important bits. So work on your dailies. You can see we're going to start collecting things to give you an idea. Work on your dailies. Pay attention to your events. And like I said, we just looked at the daily events, but if we look at like Crucible of War, it's going to show some different ones. One, it's going to show Crucible of War, the Alliance milestones. This is a kind of event that your entire Alliance is working on and will get various rewards if you guys work together on common goals, which is important. You will have an Alliance leaderboard, which is, again, where the Alliances are working and competing against the other Alliances out there for prizes. And then you have your solo milestone. That's the stuff that you do by yourself. So like in this situation, we get good rewards, but you can spend materials on your ships. You can tier them up, which we talked about briefly, and you can destroy hostiles. And in the higher the level of the hostile, the more points you get. So again, to point out, that's for destroying hostiles, which is the main way to advance. And when you're looking at your dailies, like Hostile Hunter and Hostile Harbinger, you need to kill hostiles. So it's good. It's great to know if that event is active so that you can then be going, I'm going to knock two birds with one stone. I'm going to get some of these dailies knocked out while feeding towards the event. That helps you maximize because there can be a lot of grinding in the game, but you want to make sure you're double and triple dipping wherever possible to make it less painful if it's something you don't have that much time, or just to make it take less time. So let's collect a few, and all right, and then we'll show some rewards. So we're going to collect 25. I was doing a lot of this morning on the Twitch stream, and we'll collect the solidarity piece. You kind of have to let it filter through. As you can see, it's updating up top and making them go away, which is why I saved them for this video to show you. Let's see here. Two more. I'm going to try to click both of them. Sometimes you can be quick enough. This kind of depends. All right. So now we're going to get 2 different chests worth of stuff. You can see I'm moving along here and getting some of these rewards. So now we get Par Steel Tritanium, some recruit tokens, as well as a peace shield. These are all important and helpful. So by doing those rewards, that helps. And I should have enough, yes I do, to go into a recruit just to show you some of this. The standard recruit, because when you have 20, you can make 1 pull. So we're going to hit that and just pull. This is going to give us some random officers. There are some good officers, particularly the mining officers in here. So we get that guy, Helvia, she's useful. The Cadet Kirk, and some officer XP. Another way to build up those officers. This summarizes it. That's great. And then we have that because you'll have an event you'll have some questions to build up an officer as part of your dailies sometimes as well in the beginning. So those are some of the basics that you need to consider. We'll talk more about looking at things like this screen whenever it pops up, which is showing you where you are in your base and things like that, and different space bits. But just so you know, this is how you can focus. Keep focusing on those events, coordinating those events with your daily activities, and make sure you're doing the things that you get paid the most for by the game so that your grind is most rewarding for you, and that'll really help power you up. We'll be doing more of basic training and orientation videos for Star Trek Fleet Command and tackling higher level concepts as we go. Please put a like on this video, subscribe to my channel. It really helps a lot and means a lot to me. Also, put in something in the comments and let me know what kinds of material you want to see for Star Trek Fleet Command or other games you're looking to get some orientation and some setting for. Again, links to my Discord and my Twitch will be down below. I stream daily on there at twitch.tv/lay_rooster. Please give me a follow there and check out some of the live streams. And I hope to see you soon. Cock-a-doodle-doo.